This is our championship game. A matchup worthy of March. We get it in late November. Happy Thanksgiving once again, everyone. South Carolina and Texas underway with Edwards wasting no time. And they count it.
Probably not the way the Longhorns wanted to start off the game.
John Staley just said pregame that Joyce made huge plays in the semifinal, and she begins this championship with another.
Yes, Texas is going to have their work cut out for them with a depleted roster, only playing 7 rotational players, and obviously South Carolina does a great job, physicality in their front court.
Cunningham with the first miss. Kamie Ethridge calls her own number in transition, comes up short. And South Carolina's going to keep this. Could have easily been a foul.
Latson went 9 for 25 from the field, so that's got to be something that South Carolina sees. They didn't make as Okote gets to the line.
Don Staley agreed that was her best performance as a Gamecock last night.
Well, a solid double-double in the third quarter. A nod from Coach Staley. That's saying a lot. She was the Gamecock that was ready to go to start. If you remember correctly, Duke opened the game competitive, scoring from the offensive end, making things a little difficult, but Okote was just a force in the paint.
The first 5 belong to South Carolina. Here's Rori Harmon, who had her head coach tearing up with her clutch fourth quarter performance yesterday. Lee finds her on the baseline. Harmon to the lane, knocks down the mid-range jumper.
And Harmon, known for her defensive ability to quarterback and make things difficult for the offense.
A travel.
Everyone was talking about whether they've played anybody thus far. Well, last game they did. They played UCLA. They actually faced something they hadn't seen this season. Somebody over 6'2" in the rotation. So the way that they guarded Betts was textbook. They made things difficult for her, and they're going to have to do this with the South Carolina front court.
Lee trying to get that entry to Booker. It's Tessa Johnson who draws the assignments. High-low pass. And a bucket inside for Brea Cunningham.
Well, South Carolina is long and athletic at every single position, and they can make things difficult with their depth coming in from the bench as well.
Harmon deep in the clock with an interception. And a skip all the way opposites. Texas hits a 3 with Jordan Lee.
And right there, you talk about an X factor. Jordan Lee gave UCLA's guards difficulty because she is long and athletic, but she was the one that started off the threes for Texas as well.
Okote and 1 on the roll.
And Dawn Staley upset. She thought that was an and 1. Refs said there's no continuation. It was on the catch.
Kamie Ethridge to the line. Lee was a leading scorer for Texas in the Final Four loss to South Carolina.
And Texas is a team that does not foul. And so for South Carolina to have 3 early trips to the free throw line this early in the game, it's something to watch out for. Tessa Johnson giving up a little size to Madison Booker. Best way to get your guard going is get her in the paint. Right there, nice execution on the out of bounds.
Texas has connected on its last 4 shots from the floor, ratcheting up their defensive intensity. Latson looking for a second chance opportunity. Weak side rebound to Booker. Madison Booker with the handle and brings the whistle, puts a foul on Tessa Johnson. Big 12, player of the year as a freshman. The junior from Ridgeland, Mississippi. Raven Johnson to the wing, Latson. Had it knocked away by Booker, but maintains the possession. And she gets a foul on Booker.
And Booker is beside herself.
Not even 4 minutes into the first, the Blazer is off.
And look at the daughter love right there. His daughter Blair, who played for him at Mississippi State, trying to calm her dad down as she's an assistant coach for the Longhorns. And you'll notice this Texas offense will use a lot of those pin downs, a lot of the single double screens.
Joyce Edwards with her eyes up. Lost the handle. Spotted the shooter. Latson had all day to line it up.
And that right there, Joyce Edwards draws under control, kicks on the laces to Latson.
Cunningham turns right shoulder and goes off glass.
That is a nice crab dribble.
Shooting it well. They've scored on 5 of their last 6 attempts. Tessa Johnson rolls to the lane. And she sticks the pull up.
And that right there, Texas having to be careful. They're already in the bonus.
Booker off the Sidbury screen. Puts it in the hands of Hart. 10 left in the half court for Texas. Midway point of the opening stanza.
And Texas is okay going deep into the shot clock.
Booker, good hit.
And the reason why they're okay is because they put the ball in Harmon.
What a catch by Edwards.
So nice. Great rim run. But this is the patience that Texas plays with. They're content just being efficient, going down into the shot clock and not forcing bad shots.
Threading the needle for a layup. How about Rori Harmon? Reigning leader in college basketball. Latson is knocked down a 3, now attacks the rack. Texas used an 11-3 run to rally from an early deficit. South Carolina the basketball as we resume. Tessa Johnson had it blocked. Justice Carlton with her fingerprints all over it.
And Carlton having herself a game. Every hustle play that Texas needed her to make yesterday against UCLA, she did. Cleaning up the glass. I mean, it's just a little bit of everything.
Here she is with the basketball. A little shoulder shake.
It's like she heard me. She
Okay,
knew she had to
Justice
make a play.
Carlton. Adele Tack into the game for Dawn Staley. Going to set the side screen. McDaniel finds the roller. Tack converts. The outcome wasn't, but the thought process perhaps. Here's Harmon. Swatted. Adele Tack off the South Carolina bench.
The extra effort. Tack coming over. Great help side defense. Able to get to that shot. They know Harmon has been more aggressive in this tournament, calling her own number and scoring.
Booker from the baseline.
Beautiful shot by Booker.
Edwards in the secondary. No whistle. Kyla Oldacre in the post for Texas. Lee pulls up on the move. So steady, Jordan Lee. Johnson against Booker. Gets the switch from Carlton. Rising and knocking it down. Lee with 7. Harmon comes to get it. End of the quarter pull-up. There's a good first frame for Texas. 23-19 after 1. And when she arrived in Las Vegas, we thought it would take a stretch to get there, and she puts up 6 assists in the first frame. Justice Carlton screening for her. Oldacre posting, can't find her. Here's Booker circling the lane. Forced it up, but not in. Agat McKeer makes her first appearance for South Carolina. Latson spins out. Has her own miss. Again.
And Latson just struggling early to get things to go. Missing some bunnies around the basket. But meanwhile, Texas down the floor, taking a page out of South Carolina's book.
Back in the hands of Raven Johnson. Texas continues to seal off that rim.
Rely so heavily, 58 points to 28 Duke points in the paint.
Harmon to Carlton, nice shot fake. Earns a trip to the line.
Jody Conrad, Coach Conrad, legend at Texas. And again, Carlton continues to impose her will.
A coat looking for the entry pass. Had it knocked away by Oldacre. 5th turnover for South Carolina. Lee using the shot fake. It's a good contest on the recovery from McKee.
And where does the ball find?
Every time, Justice Carlton.
Carlton just has a knack and a nose. The most efficient team in the country in field goal percentage, and that's why.
One dribble pull-up, rhythm dribble. And it helped Joyce Edwards snap the drought for South Carolina. Lee off a baseline screen. Good action, no hoop. Raven Johnson up to Latson. Trying to beat this Texas defense down the floor.
And Latson just 1 of 9 from the field. Tessa Johnson doing a great job. Latson was the third piece in the last game, so Tessa Johnson filling in early for the Gamecocks.
Look how hard Lee had to work to get it. Latson giving her fits and still finds the hoop.
And you're going to see that old school windshield wiper double on one side, single for Texas offense. They're going to let Lee operate and Madison Booker coming off, and good luck trying to guard them in the mid-range.
Up and down we go. Now the action picking up. Lee from the middle of the floor this time. Turns the corner on Latson.
But also Lee picking up those 2 early fouls. The trust of your head coach and your teammates for you not to pick up a third. She hasn't come out yet.
6 of the 7 Longhorns have scored already in this first half, with Lee setting the pace for Texas. Tessa Johnson has been the creator. Gets all the way home with the left hand.
And that's the thing about the Gamecocks. From one game to another, you can have multiple contributors.
Oh, rejected with 3.5 to go on the shot clock. Our impact player presented by Lilly. Back underway with 3.5 to go in our opening half. Some trouble off the inbound, and Texas unable to get a shot off of it.
Try to dump it off to Medina Okote or to a big who's on the block. She said, take the contact and finish strong at the rim.
So South Carolina can put that into action. Their first possession after that timeout. Thank you, Chelsea. Okote with the screen.
And the screen and roll has been successful for South Carolina. It gets Texas to have to collapse to absorb the roll. Tessa Johnson's called her own number a couple times.
Lee off the re-screen. Tessa Johnson defending. Again, another offensive board. I'm repeating myself. Justice is fouled. TNT Sports coverage of the Players Era is presented by Sam's Club. Stream DirecTV satellite free. Carlton with a couple of made field goals and 5 rebounds off the Texas bench. Johnson finds the roller. Okote gathers and has it blocked by Carlton. The help defense.
Texas extra effort, second help side defense. Carlton gets her hand on a second effort again on this end.
Both teams with only 10 points apiece in this second quarter. Lee looking for the final say. Last second heave. And a tough shooting second quarter, a grudge match. A defensive slugfest going to the half. Raven Johnson with 4 double-digit scoring efforts already this season, including yesterday's win. Gets us started in the third. Rori Harmon defending.
And right here immediately, they go to what has gotten them here. Joyce Edwards doesn't capitalize on that, but I like Dawn Staley's mode of attack, playing through players that can see the defense and not just call their own numbers.
Booker was running off that screen, an errant pass from Harmon as she left it short. Edwards had it blocked.
Texas's length, definitely a factor early in this second half.
And the first points of the third quarter belong to South Carolina and Raven Johnson.
And South Carolina taking advantage, not having Johnson bring the ball up like that against pressure.
Lee against Tessa Johnson, off balance, no problem. Jordan Lee.
And I love that Lee is staying aggressive.
Now Latson into trouble on the baseline and commits the foul on Booker.
Latson, Okote, and Edwards.
Do you attribute any of the poor shooting to going back-to-back for the first time this season for these student-athletes?
I think 100%, but it is a dress rehearsal for conference tournament as Madison Booker gets a great one to go with that left hand. She is going to have to get going downhill.
Edwards attacks that closeout, and she rolls it home. Backdoor cut, and too hot to handle. A coat with deep position, working against Cunningham, and she scores on the second side.
Coming out of halftime, both teams putting the ball in their key players' hands early.
Lady crossing over on Johnson, comes to that jump stop, and takes a trip to the line.
And Texas coach Lindsay Wisdom Hilton right here, assistant coach for the Longhorns. I grew up battling against Lindsay, was her teammate for a couple years, and then she was drafted out to the LA Sparks. She's in charge of the posts, and so I, sometimes text her after games like, that move looked familiar. Yes, our U12 team. Shout out to the Shooting Stars.
The last time you were a sixth player of the year? Great entry. And so they've got Medina Okote going. That's an encouraging sign for South Carolina.
Masters, South Carolina, they want to cause turnovers. They want to open things up and allow their athletes to flow in transition.
Carlton on the take. Great pivot to shed the defender and score. Longhorns have led for 21 minutes of this contest. Tanaya Latson trying to change that. Fouls on the floor.
As you know, if you're a scorer, all you need to do is see one go down.
Great end line execution there. Oldacre hammers that dribble. Bit out of control, but bailed out by the whistle. Kyla Oldacre said stoic.
Face never changes. Never changes. I like it.
1 out of 2. Texas maintaining its lead. Edwards in the trees with the finish and a free throw to follow.
Just athleticism on display.
Don Staley says that Joyce Edwards is a star. Carries herself that way too. Practices that way. Midway point of the shot clock. Harmon to Carlton. Tried to muscle it up and in and traveled.
Booker was open on that cut during that play.
Gamecocks' last lead was 5-4. Edwards has it now.
Up 44-42 with the play of Joyce Edwards knocking down that shot. I think Texas has to contest that.
Carlton off the shot fake. Downhill. Does not have the answer.
Everything but the bucket on that play. Here is where South Carolina is dangerous. Where the floor is opened up. Where they're using their defense to ignite their offense.
Number 2, South Carolina. They've made their last 8 shots. They've rallied for the advantage. Madison Booker could not settle things down, but Edwards got underneath Justice Carlton.
They have to win this paint battle against Texas by, I would say, 15 to 20 points. Right now, they're ahead 30 to 20.
And Texas is in the bonus. Carlton left both at the line.
And the question is, where do they go with Joyce Edwards on the bench? Latson's been struggling. Tessa Johnson had herself a great first half.
Back to her cut. Extra pass. McDowell She would have been an unlikely source. Latson's were more like it.
And Latson getting back-to-back layups after starting 1 for 9.
Extending the lead out to 6.
Yeah, you can't fake a backdoor. Madison Booker, you got to cut.
A coach sprays it out to the wing. McDowell. Not this time. A coach got the offensive board and the putback.
And everything going South Carolina's way. You can feel the intensity, the momentum of this game shifting the Gamecocks' way. You got Edwards you got to worry about, and you got Okote doing a little bit of everything.
Tonight's impact player presented by Lilly. Let's check in with Chelsea.
And that last time out, JD, Vic Schaefer looked at Madison Booker and said, you can't take plays off and you have to get back. As for the rest of the team, he said, our offense looks stagnant. You have to stop standing and waving to get open.
In this Texas Longhorn offense, not just assisting and setting the table for others, but calling her own number.
It's only her second made field goal. Lou claims a defensive board. It's like she missed some early shots and stopped looking for her offense.
Yeah, sometimes when you're not used to being that go-to scorer, you're used to kind of setting the table. You can be a little bit complacent.
Tessa Johnson back to the top. Not sure whether to post or screen. Disjointed possession there for South Carolina.
And Texas making this a one-possession game, possibly, if they're able to score in this last play, has to feel good about where they're at, considering their scoring drought.
Here's Harmon again. We're going the other way. 5 seconds left for Tessa Johnson on the move. From the logo, nearly banked it in. McDowell did not get it off in time. And so as we head to the fourth quarter, they're separated by 4 points.
How long is Dawn Staley going to keep Joyce Edwards on the bench with that third foul? Okote, the offense has to run through her until Joyce gets back in.
Booker to Harmon. Here's Lee at the wing. Tessa Johnson defending. Jordan Lee to the free throw line. Texas has been able to leverage. They've made more foul shots. And South Carolina has attempted tonight. Now 12 of 15 as a group. Raven Johnson out of the corner. They play 4 around. Medina Okote. Up to screen with 12. Surrounded by Longhorns on that roll. Lee comes away with possession. Booker picks it up. Crossing over. Madison Booker. Texas has tied it up.
And that's a great sign. They need Madison Booker to stay aggressive.
50 apiece. Joyce Edwards with 3 fouls is back on the floor for Dawn Staley. Tanai Latson hits the underside of the rim, but is fouled. Now look at what Latson has done across her career. 3 years at Florida State.
A difficulty when you're a player that is used to having the offense run through you every possession to then adjust. What's a good shot?
So big, lofty expectations. Lee over 2 Gamecocks, partially blocked. Edwards tracks it down.
And Carlton down at the other end.
A left-handed scoop, no. Okote had hands on it, and Texas will get it back.
Lee with the short miss. Carlton just comes up lame, grabbing that left knee.
We hope it's an injury that only impacts this game. Harmon off a high screen. Booker goes to work. Madison Booker
made it to the Final Four last year. Is that she's able to get her shot. She is a bucket getter. She can call her own number. As Carlton goes back to the scores table to check back in.
Seven and a half to go. McDaniel runs the show. Latson whirling, keeping her pivot foot and scoring. Here she is again. Lee. Long rebound belongs to Oldacre and is back in the hands of Harmon. And Neither team getting much from the three-point line tonight. And it's been a two-point fest. Carlton back from injury to tie things up at 54. Edwards off the elbow. One and done for South Carolina. Madison Booker flying down the floor. Madison Booker for the lead.
And Madison Booker, 3 of her last 3 field goals on this left side.
Raven Johnson at the top. Now to the block. Here is Edwards with 6 to shoot. Goes to work. Left it on the iron. Oldacre is there for the rebound.
Rori Harmon in the UCLA game was the only Longhorn to score in the fourth quarter. As they go inside to Oldacre.
So her first field goal comes with less than 6 minutes to go in regulation. Raven Johnson maintaining that dribble and threading two for South Carolina.
And Texas understands where South Carolina is going to have to go.
Booker collects on the baseline with Raven Johnson defending, falling away, and connecting.
And she has 4 of her last 4 field goals. And aggressive Madison Booker is a scary thing. As South Carolina goes zone here to see if Texas can be slowed on the offensive end.
Lee missing. But the Gamecocks could not control it.
She's got an engine, she's got a motor, she's got extra effort. Those are all things that Texas has benefited from.
Lee hits, and Rori Harmon sets a record. What's the counterpunch for South Carolina? Is it Edwards? Is it a Coates? Lee spots up, misses the 3, has her own rebound. Stripped, a scramble. Tessa Johnson has it, with Harmon back defensively, driving the issue and bringing the whistle.
Well, that is tremendous. Obviously, we understand the importance of Rori Harmon to the Texas program. I do believe that her jersey will be in the rafters one day in Austin. Just Final Four continues to...
Tessa Johnson for 3.
Tessa, a much-needed 3 from the Gamecocks.
Harmon the post entry. Oldacre denied. And guess who on the weak side? Her lip is bloodied. She's left in return with a knee injury. She's 4 of 6 at the line. One out of 2. Dawn Staley calls her set. A coat up to screen for Raven Johnson. And we're going the other way.
And her coat was not set on that screen, that offensive screening call.
Doesn't just cost him the possession, it's 4 on one of the key Gamecocks here. Justice Carlton. Oldacre fighting for the offensive rebound, and she's going to the line. That's her 5th.
That is huge for South Carolina with Coat out of the game.
As Oldacre hits Adele Tock, the sophomore. 1 out of 2. But look who's there for the offensive board. Madison Booker with the free possession for the Longhorns with a 3-point lead.
And right here, if you're the Longhorns, you don't want to kill too much time, but I think you got to put the ball in Madison Booker's hands and allow her to get to work.
Harmon with a short clock. Too strong, no resets.
This has got to be a tip as there's only 0.3 seconds.
Harmon knows. Oldacre. And so South Carolina stays within a possession.
I think the ball has to go through Joyce Edwards on this possession. They've had some success with getting her to the paint through back screens, through the pick and roll to get her rolling towards the basket.
Here she is on the blow-by. Fouled on the reverse.
Going to the rack and getting to the free throw line.
4th personal foul on Kyla Oldacre for Texas. Missed them both. Booker's there for the board.
And South Carolina doesn't have to foul on this possession. They have to play tough defense, make things tough. But if you're Texas, I think Madison Booker or Lee have to take this shot.
Booker dangerously near that sideline. 10 to shoot. Between two Gamecocks. Had it stripped. Raven Johnson on the run. And she's fouled with 44 seconds to go.
Joyce Edwards missed 2 last possession.
Raven, one of their better foul shooters. Short on the first.
And again, this is still a 2-possession game. No need to foul on this defensive effort, but they need that free throw to go down. A 2-point game.
The Longhorns new all-time assist leader with the basketball. And a 2-point lead in the closing seconds. Ten left on the timer. They can't find Booker. They can't find Harmon. To the floor, Latson. Possession and a timeout for Dawn Staley. There she is, the senior guard from Miami, to send it in. In the hands of Edwards. Back to Latson. Latson to tie it up. She'll have to earn it at the stripe. Latson now 6 for 7 at the line. 15.1 left. Texas with 3 timeouts.
Texas has got to run this offensive set with a little bit more pace. The clock is ticking down.
Harmon for the Players Era crown.
You have to make sure if you're Texas that you're not fouling.
Deflected. And only 0.1 left for now. Rhea Cunningham at 6'4" on the ball. Raven Johnson to throw it in. And it's over. Texas wins the Players Era.